Ntuko ya narua koti nene nekete gikaro kia mwanya kiria kizikene mono ta pre-trial conference aria antere chionde che Igamba Ria chitikaniritie mantu kenda zaria koti ikethirwa igitegera na kugita igamba jario kwethirwa mitambo ya ABC ni ari na umbani bwa kwithukirwa nkuruki kiri gikaro giki orutere ni rugairi mathaa jaria bakaigika mbere ya koti.
The polling stations that have been identified, some of them are actually polling centers as opposed to polling stations.
Muthenya jwanarwa koti nene nthigurune iria ikuthikira Igamba Ria reikirwe koti ni mwabure jwa azimio jutongeretwe ni Raila Odinga netumiritie mwerekera juria jugatumirwa kuthikira Igamba Ria. Bwambere koti iji niregete kuongera kanya kiria thitangwa karia bararombete.
The request for additional time by council for the first, second and the 9th respondents over and above the time allocated and issued earlier this morning is hereby declined.
Koti eti nkuruki nethiritwe igitenga na nkuchanio ta kamiti ya mianka na ithurano na kumiuria ibange bwega.
After the various petitions were filed and served on the IEBC, and the chairman of the IEBC, Wafula Chebukati, appointed counsel to represent him. The law firms went on record and filed their responses respectively. At the same time, the 4 commissioners, namely Juliana Sherere, Vice Chairperson, Francis Wandera, Justus Nyangaya, and Irene Masit, were named as respondents in various petitions individually, and they retained their respective counsel and they filed their responses. We have now been called upon to give directions and to resolve the question of legal representation of the IEBC. We have considered the pleadings, the record and the brief statements by counsel. It's our considered view that this court cannot deal with the issue or any dispute as to the legal representation of the IEBC as an institution in these petitions. It is not the business of the court to determine who represents the IEBC in whichever formation.
Kagitene okauni orete munene wa borisi anenkanire ukaria bwa kung'ana mwanka kesi ejethire na nkuruki uria mateta jamwe jakathikirwa.
We direct the Inspector General of Police in liaison with the registrar of this court to provide adequate security during the exercise of scrutiny. We direct that all pleadings that were filed out of time, including those that were filed by 2 p.m. today, be and are hereby deemed to have been filed in time. The parties against whom such filings are made shall not respond to them by way of replies, but rather shall be at liberty to respond thereto by way of oral submissions during hearing.
Netete na mbere na kunenkanira mwerekera nkuruki.
Learned counsel for the first respondent, the Honorable William Samuel Ruto, has informally applied for leave to respond to 2 affidavits presented by the Attorney General in petition number E007 of 2022. With effect from today, the 30th day of August 2022, 2 p.m., as indicated in paragraph 3 above, the court will not entertain any further lodgement of pleadings. However, counsel is granted leave to respond to the 2 affidavits that were presented by way of oral submissions at the hearing.
Metho jonde jerekerete koti nene ethikira na kugita Igamba Ria orutere ruria rwiketie Igamba rugetera guchinda. Maureen Kinya, Weru TV.
Vice President of the Court,